Have you ever wondered why the man who seems least invested, least reactive, often becomes the center of everyone's attention? Why the one who withdraws commands respect while the one who chases is dismissed? It is because detachment is not absence. It is power. When you remove your neediness, you remove their leverage. Most people spend their lives proving, justifying, explaining, hoping to be chosen. But understand this: the moment you stop seeking approval, you change the balance of power. You move from beggar to sovereign. People are drawn to what they cannot easily predict or control, and there is nothing more unpredictable than a man who refuses to react on command. Ask yourself, how often do you offer your emotions cheaply, letting others feast on your need to be seen, understood, validated? When you detach, you disrupt this economy. You make them pay in curiosity, in doubt, in obsession. Because mystery is valuable, and attention is a tax they must pay to you. Predictability is disposable. Those who understand this rule do not advertise their intentions. They do not reveal every thought. They let others wonder. Detachment is not coldness for its own sake. It is a calculated withdrawal. It is the refusal to play the role others assign you, because every social game depends on roles: hero, victim, pleaser, rebel. When you accept a role, you accept a script. When you accept a script, you surrender the pen. Cold-blooded men keep the pen. When you become cold-blooded, you do not stop feeling. You stop leaking. You learn to carry fire in an iron box. You speak less. You watch more. And you choose responses that serve your long game rather than your momentary relief. The crowd calls this cruelty because the crowd profits when you are soft. They will say you have changed. They will say you are unfeeling. Let them. The accusations of the dependent are proof that their hooks can no longer reach you. Reaction is slavery. Detachment is freedom. How often have you handed over power with your emotions? Anger that reveals your wounds, jealousy that exposes your fear, defensiveness that confirms their accusations. All of it is currency paid out without return. Cold blood is the refusal to subsidize their leverage. It is a private treasury. The cold-blooded man listens but does not confess. He observes, but does not explain. He chooses his silences as carefully as others choose their weapons. In those silences, others project. They wonder what you know. They wonder what you think. They spin fantasies and fears to fill the void that once overflowed with your explanations. You become a mirror they cannot bear to face. That is influence without force. Ask yourself, why do you need to be understood so badly? Why do you explain every move, justify every boundary, defend every decision? It is weakness disguised as openness. It is approval addiction. Machiavelli would tell you that men are ruled by appearances. The appearance you must master is composure under fire. The moment you show you cannot be unsettled, you unsettle them. The moment you show you can walk away, they will follow. Freedom is magnetic. A man who does not depend on permission is dangerous. He cannot be bribed with flattery or threatened with exile. He has made himself whole. But do not confuse detachment with apathy. Indifference is rot. Detachment is discipline. Cold blood is not dead blood. It is tempered, trained, obedient to reason. Guard your resources like a fortress. A fortress does not open its gates for every traveler. It makes them earn entry. So must you guard mind, emotion, and attention. In the economy of power, attention is gold, and most people spend it on trinkets. Cold blood is the vault. It keeps wealth secure until you choose to invest. Notice how the quiet man in the meeting commands more respect than the one who rambles. How the lover who holds something back becomes irresistible. How the leader who delays reaction grows taller in the room the longer he waits. Restraint is mistaken for depth. Silence is mistaken for knowledge. Cold blood creates the illusion of mastery even before mastery is complete. And that illusion often hardens into reality because restraint gives you time to observe, measure, and move with precision. People will call you cold. Wear it like armor. They will say you are cruel. Understand. To the indulgent, discipline feels like violence. The man who fears these accusations will always be enslaved by them. The man who accepts misunderstanding has no master. The cold-blooded do not wave their feelings like flags. They sheath them like knives. Consider the enemy who shouts. He reveals his position, his fear, his intent. Consider the negotiator who rushes. He reveals his price, his ceiling, his hunger. Consider the lover who begs. He reveals his emptiness, his leash, his owner. The cold-blooded man waits. He lets the other reveal everything first. In negotiation, this is leverage. In relationships, it is magnetism. In conflict, it is strategy. It is better to be calm than correct. Better to be unreadable than adored. Better to be respected than entertained. Love offered too freely breeds contempt. Love earned grudgingly commands loyalty. The same applies to your time, your attention, your praise. What is rare is valued. What is abundant is used and discarded. Be rare. Why do you give yourself so cheaply? Why do you explain your dreams and wounds to people who have not proven they can carry them? Cold blood is the refusal to beg for understanding, the refusal to buy affection with obedience, the refusal to serve as a puppet whose strings are emotions known to your enemies. The masses are dragged by feeling. The cold-blooded are guided by aim. The desperate reveal too much too soon. The patient gather data, test boundaries, and map weaknesses. Cold blood is active observation, not passive withdrawal. Watch how easily people give themselves away. A small insult ignites fury. A minor delay triggers panic. A compliment melts spine into syrup. Most are marionettes. A slight tug, and they dance. Cut your strings. Study your triggers until they lose their grip. Close the gaps where you leak control. There is power in silence. When you stop defending, you remove targets. When you stop explaining, you remove ammunition. When you stop reacting, you force them to face themselves. Silence makes parasites starve. They will demand clarity. They will demand apologies. They will demand access. Let their demands echo into the stone of your restraint. The world would prefer you pliable because a pliable man is easy to file and easy to feed upon. Detachment is the art of making your absence heavier than your presence. When you withdraw your attention, others begin to question their own worth. When you withdraw your approval, the insecure reveal their dependence on it. In this way, cold blood is the most honest mirror you can hold. Appearances rule, yes, but the appearance you cultivate is that of a man who can choose distance without losing center. People respect what they cannot read, fear what they cannot predict, and desire what they cannot possess. Give enough to intrigue, never enough to be owned. Share enough to connect, never enough to be exploited. Care, but not at the cost of clarity. This balance is delicate. It is the foundation of influence. Lovers who reveal every insecurity smother attraction. Leaders who justify every decision smother authority. Friends who pour themselves out at every request smother respect. Neediness rots what it touches. Cold blood preserves value. In politics, business, and love, cold blood is strategy. The general who takes every bait exposes his army. The ruler who needs to be adored becomes a servant of applause. The dealmaker who cannot endure silence pays too much. Alliances shift, interests change, hearts wander. If you need constant reassurance, you will never sleep. If you make loyalty align with self-interest, you can rest. Be useful, be formidable, be somewhat unknowable, and even the resentful will cling to you. How many times have you ruined your position by over-explaining? How many times have you softened a boundary until it dissolved? How many times have you poured your plans into the hands of a gossip dressed as a confidant? Cold blood cures self-sabotage. It is the choice to act rather than react, to guide rather than chase, to invest rather than bleed. It is not the murder of feeling, it is the management of it. Manipulators thrive on emotion you cannot control. They want you reactive and desperate, confessing under pressure so your words can be twisted, apologizing for needs so those needs can be denied. Cold blood denies them these tools. You become unplayable. At first they will escalate, they will shout, sulk, disappear, bait, and bait again. Let them tire. Calm is a desert where petty tempests die. Observe your patterns. Where do you respond too fast? Where do you give too much? Where do you speak when silence would serve? Where do you chase what should approach? These are points of entry where others invade your life. Close them, guard them. Train yourself to sit with discomfort. Let them wonder, Let them stew. Let them earn what was once free. When you raise the price, the unworthy stopping. Freedom is not doing whatever you please. It is not being dragged by internal storms. Most people live as slaves to unseen masters, impulse, opinion, guilt, and fear. The cold-blooded man roots his nervous system through discipline. Yes is worthless if you cannot say no. Giving is hollow if demanded under duress. Restraint is royalty. Watch the forever reactive. They burn out in dramas, drown in apologies, beg for peace while fanning chaos with their answers. They have no access. Every gust of emotion spins them loose from their own lives. Machiavelli would number them among the ruled. They lack the cold lucidity to ask, is this worthy of my energy? Is this battle mine? Is this alliance profitable in the long term? The cold-blooded ask these questions daily. They are not numb, they are selective. Selectivity is power. Cold blood does not reject connection. It rejects ownership. You can love fiercely and remain untamed. You can be loyal without being leashed. You can serve a mission without becoming a martyr. Detachment gives you the space to see others clearly. Friend, foe, or fog. It allows boundaries without guilt, decline without essay, departure without drama. This terrifies those who rely on your inability to say no. The one who can walk away controls the room. Consider seduction. It is a rhythm of reveal and reserve. The man who confesses everything kills the music. The man who sells his soul for cheap kills its value. The one who stays slightly out of reach becomes the melody they cannot stop humming. Humans crave what resists them. Constant availability suffocates desire. Controlled distance cultivates it. This is not cruelty. It is respect for value. Make others invest in access, and they will protect what they bought. Cold blood sets a standard. If you want my time, earn it. If you want my trust, prove it. If you want my heart, show you can guard it. Those unwilling to pay will accuse, complain, and fade. You will gain by losing them. Loyalty purchased with flattery is loyalty that deserts in the storm. A prince must inspire respect, even fear. Fear not of harm, but of loss of access, loss of regard, loss of the privilege of closeness. You do not achieve this by rage. You achieve it by self-command. By demonstrating that affection is not a lever, that guilt is not a key, that tears are not treaties. You can be needed without being needy, wanted without wanting badly, valued without advertising. Ask yourself, when did you last let someone earn your silence? When did you last hold back an apology they demanded but did not deserve? When did you last let their tantrum collapse into its own emptiness while you remained still? These are the drills of sovereignty. They are uncomfortable. You will be tempted to prove you are kind, to mend their mood, to buy back proximity with concessions. Resist. Every time you violate your standard to regain harmony, you teach them how to break you cheaper next time. People will test your detachment. They will probe with silence, sting with accusations, wave old memories like flags. They want old you, the compliant one, the always available one. Power always tests for weakness. Let their waves break against the granite of your stillness. Cold blood is that granite. It neither rushes to soothe nor hurries to fight. It absorbs pressure without fracture and returns only measured force where necessary. Do not mistake this for sadism. Cold blood is not about creating pain. It is about preventing waste. A commander does not brief his strategy to every whispering courtier. Neither should you brief your heart to every listener. People who demand constant access rarely respect what they access. Price your presence. Keep your counsel tight. Speak last. When you finally speak, speak with weight. Relationships fail when one side becomes predictable, available at cost, eager to please, allergic to silence. They forget that tension keeps desire alive and challenge keeps respect awake. Detachment restores both. It does not deny closeness. It demands quality. If you want my time, bring purpose. If you want my mind, bring truth. If you want my love, bring strength. Those who come empty-handed will curse your gates. Let them curse outside. To be feared or loved, the question is misread. You must be legible as fair, but illegible as weak. Cold blood makes you both. Fair in your terms, unreadable in your triggers. Some will call you ruthless. They're right. You are ruthless with yourself. Ruthless about standards, about time, about what you tolerate. Ruthlessness inward grants mercy outward because you no longer resent what you give, and you never give what violates your code. This will cost you. It will cost you certain friendships built on your softness, certain rituals of apology, certain theatrics of reassurance. It will cost you the warm fog of being liked by everyone. In return, you gain cold air, clear, thin, honest. You will breathe better. You will sleep. You will command your days instead of negotiating them. You will not be invited to every table, but the tables that matter will wait for you to sit. You cannot fake cold blood. You cannot act unbothered while vibrating with need. You cannot posture silence while crafting paragraphs in your head to win imaginary arguments. Cold blood begins within, with regulating your breath when baited, with delaying your reply a day longer than your anxiety finds comfortable, with replacing explanations with decisions, with exchanging apologies for changed boundaries. Emotional fasting sharpens the mind. The world will search your face for entry points. Flinch here, blink there, twitch at the sound of a name. Train your face to be a mask that only your mission can lift. Train your schedule to be a wall. Train your words to be fewer and truer. Train your presence to be expensive. If you must speak, ask questions that force others to reveal themselves. If you must concede, concede what does not matter to protect what does. Cold blood does not mean you never melt. It means you decide when, where, and for whom. It means your warmth is earned, not stolen. It means your love has a spine. Even with loved ones, especially with loved ones, you must be capable of saying no without sermon, leaving without spectacle, and returning without guilt. Love that demands your self-betrayal is not love. It is appetite, asking to be fed forever. Set rules for yourself that even your favorite person cannot break. If they respect you, rules become a frame that protects the art of the relationship. If they only wanted access, rules feel like prison bars and they will rattle them loudly. Do not confuse volume with value. The louder the protest, the clearer the boundary required. Cold blood lets you enforce that boundary with calm, not claws. There will be nights when silence roars. You will wonder whether you are too hard, too distant, too unlike the easy warmth you once traded for crumbs. Remember the cost of those crumbs, the exhaustion of constant performance, the nausea of endless explanation, the humiliation of apologizing for having limits. Put that memory beside your present discomfort and choose your pain. One pain buys freedom, the other rents shame. As your blood cools, your world clarifies. You will see who calls only when they need, who listens only to speak, who loves only to own. You will also see the rare few who respect distance, who match your discipline, who bring weight, not noise. Keep those few. To them, you can unmask because they never asked you to bleed to prove you care. They earned your warmth by not demanding it. Do not announce this transformation. Do not post manifestos. Quietly change your defaults. Fewer replies, slower yeses, quicker nos, tighter circles, higher prices for proximity. Let results speak. Let absence educate. Let standards sift. When accused of being cold, smile once and say, "I am clear." Clarity feels cold to those who profited from your confusion. Every empire that lasted had cold laws and warm festivals. Be the same. Keep a code that does not bend in weather. Keep a heart that celebrates those who thrive within that code. Learn to give without theater and to refuse without apology. Learn to end with a sentence, not an essay. Learn to be the man who leaves the table when respect is no longer served, and does so without noise, without threats, without looking back. You will be told that this is lonely. Sometimes it will be. But loneliness is not the worst fate. Self-betrayal is. Solitude trains you to generate your own weather. It turns attention inward where work is done and outward where it counts. It teaches you to value the company you keep with yourself, so you only accept company that improves it. Cold blood is not the end of love. It is the end of need, masquerading as love. From this stance, Opportunities come dressed as tests. A delay that once panicked you becomes a filter. A disrespect that once drew debate becomes a departure. A compliment that once melted you becomes data. You stop chasing storms and start charting currents. You stop answering bait and start framing terms. And the world, confused at first, begins to adjust around you. In time, people will say you are lucky. Doors open for you. Rooms quiet when you speak. Lovers remain or leave with respect. It is not luck. It is the compound interest of discipline applied to attention, speech, and emotion. It is cold blood warming only what deserves heat. It is sovereignty exercised quietly and daily until it looks like grace. Now ask yourself, are you willing to be misunderstood to preserve your sanity? Are you willing to watch the wrong people exit so the right ones can enter? Are you willing to train the reflex to react into the reflex to remain? If yes, begin small. Delay answers, shorten explanations, price your presence, guard your mornings, guard your nights, hold your line, repeat until your nervous system believes you. And when the old life knocks, urgent, weepy, outraged, open the door, only if it arrives dressed in respect. If not, let it knock and grow tired and go away. You are no longer a house for chaos. You are a citadel for purpose. The man who becomes cold-blooded does not freeze the world. He freezes his fear. He does not harden his heart. He hardens his standards. He does not kill his love. He kills his weakness. Then when he chooses to be warm, the room understands. This warmth is rare. Treat it accordingly. If you are ready, write it on the walls of your mind where only you can see. I will not bleed for bargains. I will not explain to be allowed. I will not rush to be chosen. I choose myself, and from that choice I choose others fit to stand beside me. If that sounds ruthless, good. Life is ruthless to those who refuse to learn it. Be the exception. Become calm. Become scarce. Become inevitable. Even with loved ones, you must hold this line, not because you love them less, but because you refuse to love them in a way that turns you into prey. Family, partner, friend. The titles are sacred. The behavior still must be weighed. A parent may guilt you with decades. A lover may ransom intimacy. A friend may invoice you with nostalgia. Cold blood pays in principle, not in panic. You honor what is fair, not what is forced. You give what is chosen, not what is extorted. If their love requires that you shrink, refuse. If their respect requires that you surrender, refuse. If their closeness requires that you erase yourself, refuse, and refuse quietly. Silence is the sharpest no. Test this in small ways. When you say no to a loved one and they respond with respect, the bond strengthens. When you say no and they respond with threats, silence, or character assassination, you have data, not drama. Do not negotiate against your own clarity because the face is familiar. Machiavelli wrote that men forget the death of a father sooner than the loss of patrimony. Translate that into the modern house and you see how quickly people forgive a blow to pride compared to a blow to benefits. If your new standards cost someone their benefits, they will call you cold. Wear the label. It means the subsidy ended. Cold blood is not a single decision. It is a set of policies. Write them for yourself and enforce them like law. Policy 1, I do not explain. No. Policy 2, I do not bargain with guilt. Policy 3, I reward accountability with access. Policy 4, I remove myself at the first sign of contempt. Policy 5, I never confuse forgiveness with reunion. Policy 6, I never return to terms that broke me. Policy 7, I am polite as default and steal as needed. Policy 8, I speak once on matters of principle, then act. Policy 9, I do not debate my worth. Policy 10, I choose distance over drama every time. On holidays, when old patterns circle like vultures, maintain your altitude. Speak less than you used to. Smile warmly and answer briefly. When they ask for your life story download, offer a sentence. When they press why you won't eat every baited dish of obligation, say you are full and keep your plate clean. When they feign concern to harvest information, thank them for their care and give them nothing to weaponize. You are not rude. You are sovereign. The warmest rooms can hide the coldest knives. Carry your own cutlery, boundaries that slice clean and quiet. Some will say, but love, means being vulnerable. Yes, and vulnerability means chosen exposure within earned safety, not public nudity before hungry audiences. Cold blood chooses where the armor opens. It does not outlaw feeling, it outlaws surrender. What you share should deepen the bond, not feed the rumor mill. What you concede should strengthen the future, not mortgage it. What you forgive should free your heart, not disarm your sense. You cannot be generous until you are disciplined. You cannot be soft until you are strong. You cannot be fully loving until you are fully self-respecting. The child in you wanted to be agreed with. The adult in you wants to be aligned. Cold blood makes that pivot. It trades the sugar of being liked for the iron of being trusted. The people who once called you dramatic will call you dependable, because you will be the rare person who says what he means and means what he says, without theater, without delay. Practice drills. When a text arrives that used to send you running, put your phone down and drink a glass of water. When a demand arrives dressed as emergency, wait an hour and watch the flames shrink to their true size. When an accusation arrives, refuse the courtroom. Respond with a single sentence or not at all. When an apology arrives that requests instant reset, offer forgiveness with distance. Let trust earn its way back over time. When your heart surges with the urge to over-explain, stand up, walk once around the block, and allow your pulse to remember that silence is not a crime. Even with the one you love most, be prepared to choose your code over your craving. If their need today violates your principle forever, love them and still refuse. If your silence today protects the mission that feeds both of you tomorrow, hold the silence. If your departure today prevents a long, slow death of respect, leave today. This is the arithmetic of a life that lasts. Children of chaos cannot count like this, but builders must. There will be scenes. Doors will close harder than necessary. Voices will rise. Tears will visit. You will feel the ache that once made you run back. Do not run. Breathe and let the scene end. Great actors can only perform to an audience. When you stop reacting, the act tires and exits. Then watch. Those who are capable of love will return with respect. Those who only needed control will search for another stage. Cold blood is not a mask you wear forever. It is a climate you create so the right life can grow. In that climate, trust looks like consistent action, not flowery speech. Loyalty looks like alignment under pressure, not promises in calm. Love looks like protection of each other's standards, not permission to violate them. When you meet this love, open the iron box. Warmth fills the room and no one steals it because everyone knows what it costs to heat. And if they ask, "Why are you like this now?" do not hand them a dissertation. Say, "Because I value what lasts. Because I no longer trade my peace for approval. Because I am finished explaining my boundaries to people who benefit from their erosion. Because my love is not a discount store." Then go on with your day. The sun does not brief the world on why it rises. It rises and the world adjusts. Be still.